Hey, Bryce.
Hello, everybody, and welcome to another SKTLs Volunteers call, where we have created a space debris cleaning cryptocurrency with no founders tokens. Gave them all away, except for the ones that went into a fund that now are being given away once a year to companies that are dedicated to cleaning up space debris. Dan, my first boss on Wall Street, Andrew Lanier, would send me home for yawning. Yawns are contagious, right?
Yes.
Absolutely. Dan, you don't have to leave. Please don't go.
Yeah, please don't go, Dan. I was not sending you home.
My first manager as a young stockbroker in Los Angeles, and he was an old school New York broker. You weren't allowed to take your jacket off until the market closed.
Oh, shit.
Hey, the market's closed. I'm good.
Do you have your jacket there, Bryce?
No.
Unbelievable. So
you don't have one hanging on the back of the door so that if somebody comes in, you'll put it on real quick.
Right. And it was, suits and ties. It was not just a jacket. So
no, that's right. I was suit and ties except on Friday.
No.
We had quote unquote casual Friday, but you still had to dress nicely.
This was before casual Fridays. So
Dan had to wear. He was wearing a suit on Saturday just because it felt right.
That's right. That's all I owned were suits.
Hey, so let's talk space, and then we'll talk crypto. Sometimes we do crypto then space today. Let's switch it up a little bit. Space-wise, Rocket Lab had a successful launch last night. SpaceX continues to it's not even news when SpaceX does launches now. Nobody cares unless you're there, and then it's really cool to see. But have you guys, out of the four of you guys, how many of you guys have seen a line of Starlink satellites after they've been launched before they get too far into space where you can't see them? Just me?
Yeah, probably.
Much light around here, I think.
You've seen it, Bryce?
The Starlink line?
Yeah.
Oh yeah, lots of times.
Yeah. I out here in New Mexico, we have very little light interference, and so over the years, I've seen. I don't know. I think last spring I saw a big one, and then I saw a glance of one maybe a month or two ago. It's cool to see. It's really it looks like something out of it looks like aliens are coming down or something. It's a little discombobulating, frankly, but
my goal is to get down to Texas and go see a launch. I'd love to see a Starship launch. That'd be great.
Yes, Bryce and I have tried to figure out the time to go the last 2 times. It has not worked for our calendar, but we've got some friends who are Peter Thiel / Elon Musk old school guys who are very involved with all of that, and they're based in Austin, and they're always going. And one of these days, we're going to meet them down there at Boca Chica.
Yeah, that'd be great.
And see it. If we go, we'll let you guys all know, and maybe we'll have a SKTLs party.
Mm-hmm. That would be fun.
Speaking of SKTLs parties, we have 2 to 3 weeks before we need to select and vote on and then award SKTL tokens from the fund to companies or people that have great ideas for cleaning up space debris. Bryce, did you bring this up last week?
Mm-hmm.
You were supposed to ask Dan what his thoughts were. I forgot to ask you the rest of the week if you had done so. Dan.
What my thoughts were about what?
How are we going to find the next 2 to 3, 5 companies that we're giving tens of thousands of dollars worth of tokens to?
Well, I think
we asked for proposals last week and talking, anybody.
Yeah. I also think it might make sense to go back, although it's not part of the original construct, but to look at those we've awarded to see what they've been doing since. Because you could see where there are going to be companies who might be deserving because they're continuously making progress. Absolutely. And then there are others that fell off the edge of the earth and we're never going to hear from them again. But I think keeping the old ones involved, maybe there's some twist that says we allocate some to those existing ones who are continuing to perform. Or maybe we just say that prior companies are still eligible, assuming they can show that they've advanced.
Yes.
Somehow.
Bryce, will you take a look at your emails? You went back and forth last year with each of the. I think we awarded 3 companies. Does that sound right?
Yeah, I mean, we picked 5, but I think 3 only actually accepted.
Yeah. So we'll, if you will take a look at the 3 that, and just get the names and maybe shoot Dan and myself and or the rest of us an email. Put it in Slack, I guess, too. But let's maybe take a look at that. And then this week we could reach out to them and ask them to come back and even give a quick presentation again. And I enjoyed learning what each of those companies was doing anyway. Probably, Bryce, if you'll also make a note, I'd like to reach back out to Cis Lunar. Can't think of the guy's, the CEO.
Gary Callan.
Gary Callan. I like that guy. I'd like to hear from him again.
Yeah. I just saw him a couple of weeks ago. KMI, I think you're going to want.
Yes.
Yeah, because the companies that are really going to be the debris removal companies are the companies that are making tugs. They're making these little space tugs, these OTVs, these orbital transfer vehicles that are going to go around and grab stuff and move it around. They're the ones who are going to be doing the physical work. So looking at companies that are making orbital transfer vehicles is really where debris is going to get dealt with. And then they're going to go on to deal with moving satellites to different orbits and moving other stuff around. But that's the first phase of their company development is going to be debris, because it's the first market to present itself before the other stuff gets more mature, moving satellites and changing their orbits and all that. So companies making those vehicles are going to be the sweet spot for debris removal.
Cool.
Whether it's their long-term strategy or not is irrelevant. It's the first thing they can do to make money. It's a beachhead strategy for a lot of them.
Awesome. All right. Well, we've got, let's say 2 to 3 weeks. We like to do it on Space Day, but we'll need to get a selection of companies and then get the SKTLs wallet holders then we'll get Daniel Ng to put it in so that the SKTLs crypto holders can vote, and then we'll do an award to 3 to 5 companies like we're supposed to.
Yeah, you may. I mean, LinkedIn is the best place to get submissions for newer companies, because the entire industry lives on that site. So, doing a posting there. Is there a SKTLs page there? No, huh?
Bryce, have we ever created I never have. Cabana, do you have any idea? I don't think we have a LinkedIn page.
Because that might not be a bad thing to have.
Yeah.
And then do the postings there. You'll get a million companies that'll submit. Because they're all there. They're just all on LinkedIn. That's the best community to get to the new space economy, for sure.
So, Bryce, will you spend 15 minutes this afternoon or this evening and just throw a quick SKTLs page on LinkedIn for us?
No.
You can just copy the SKTLs.com verbiage from SKTLs.com.
That's right.
Bryce has literally never said that to me. I don't think he's ever said no. Well, not once. So that was a little. I just ignored it. Whatever.
Yeah, in one ear and out the other.
But he's mad because Meta's down 10% after hours.
Yeah.
Do you feel like at some point every company that is doing space will have some necessity to be a cleanup? I mean, what if there's a company out there that's going to retrofit everybody's stuff out there with something that can aid in cleanup? You don't have to be a specific company that's going out and doing cleanup. You're doing something with all the other companies. Hey, there's a great business.
It's a big market. It's already a big market. It's called EOL, end of life services, and so the FCC now requires that if you have a satellite, you need an end of life strategy. So you can't put something up without a plan for doing something with it when it's dead. And so these end of life companies, which is going to be an interesting little segment, will be companies who have these transfer vehicles yet again, where they will say to you, okay, we're going to put up a satellite for, Skittles Inc. And you have to have a contract that says you have a way to get rid of it once it goes, dead. And so that contract would include paying Company X to come pick it up and either burn it up by dropping it into the atmosphere or bringing it to a recycling center in orbit to be brought there to be eventually cut up and recycled. So you have to have those contracts. So that's going to be an interesting market. Plus the impact on the insurance market, where everybody's required to have insurance on their satellite in case it goes out of control and hits somebody else's. The insurance market's going to be huge for this. Although they're not ready for it yet, they're trying to get ready for it because the capital requirements are going to be much more than they have.
I was going to say, they don't have actuarial models for space debris collision yet.
No. And so they're, they do know the satellite market because they've been insuring satellites for the longest time, but that's about the only thing you can find if you search for space insurance. It's for satellites. Rockets and space stations, never been done before. So it was always government.
Hey, shout out to Prince Will real quick. If all old school, I don't know if any of you guys were here back in the first 2 to 3 months. Prince Will just commented on our chat here, and he was a founding volunteer. Yeah. What's up, Prince? Good to see you. So Dan, let me ask you a question on space. When did you join the Planetary Society? What's that been? 20 years?
No, longer than that.
No. Well,
Yeah.
when did you?
It was probably the early to mid 80s that I joined.
And when did you become a part of the board?
Part of the board would have been, I'd have to pull out that infamous press release, but I want to say it was 25 years ago.
The infamous press release, for those of you who don't know, was Dan joined this Planetary Society the same day that Elon Musk, the board of the Planetary Society, the same day that Elon Musk did. And Dan was the financial, in the press release, Dan was the financial guru and Elon was the tech guru. And
this is okay. So this was 2003, I believe. It was. I just pulled it up. Yeah, it was 2003, October 2nd, and
All right, I got it. I'm going to share it with just because it's sort of fun.
Oh, do you have it?
I have it. Screen. Here, look at this. See, Planetary Society adds internet and investment acumen. That's awesome. News to the board is Elon Musk of PayPal fame, who's a founder of this company called SpaceX, a private rocket development company created like 10 months ago at the time.
Yeah.
And then also he joins a 13-member board of directors along with Dan. Oh, I might start calling you Daniel.
No.
Daniel T. Geraci, former president and CEO of Boston-based Pioneer. That's hilarious.
Nope.
Elon Musk, 31.
Yeah.
Well-known internet entrepreneur who co-founded Zip2.
21 years ago.
He had a very different and shorter
21 years ago.
Then.
21 years ago.
And I won't hold it against you that you were born in Connecticut either.
No.
No.
Can't pick that. Can't pick your birthplace. So.
Nah, can't pick your parents either.
No.
Can't pick your kids. Found that out. Love my kids, but yeah.
Eventually.
Nobody. I didn't get to go to like, hey, which of these would you like?
Yeah, we're not there yet, but we're getting close, I think.
I guess that's true. Yeah, now you can start modifying your children before they're born. All right, listen. So Dan, the thing I was going to ask. So it's been 21 years as chairman of the board of Planetary Society, 22 years apparently since SpaceX was founded. How different is, like, Is space at the place you thought it would be along the time horizon? Is it going slower? Is it going faster?
Oh.
Is this about where you thought? Like 20 years ago, where was your thoughts on space?
It's an interesting question because 20 years ago, we were in that space dead zone. We were flying shuttle. We weren't doing anything else. There were some planetary missions. Some of them had failed at the time, the Mars missions. No one was thinking about this kind of an environment where commercial would be so big and on fire and moving forward. Nobody envisioned Space Force. No one really could. We were just a couple of years off 9/11. And so things were very different. Priorities were very different footing. And so, no, I don't think anybody would have envisioned it. I think we were all at a point in time where we were disappointed about the fact that we hadn't done more since the moon and that were languishing in low Earth orbit. And so, yeah, you can't, there was nothing to say this is going to happen because other than, people were laughing at Elon. That was a sport.
They were laughing at Elon yesterday on the earnings call.
No, of course.
Changed.
No, but they were laughing at his ridiculous concept of I'm going to go build this company and I'm going to Mars, whether anybody likes it or not. And I think, those the laughing old timers from the NASA years are, most of them have eaten enough crow now where they should be able to fly. So I think that now they're relegated to criticizing when something doesn't go right. They started out saying you're stupid for doing it. Now they're just sitting in the back in the peanut gallery saying, oh, gee, that blew up. They're done. They're completely done. They've been cast as the dinosaurs that they are. And I think that if you ask people today what they're thinking, boy, would it be a different vision of the future than what we were doing, 20 plus years ago. Now it's, gee, what's the vision of the future? Oh, we're going to be on Mars. We're going to be on the moon. China just said they're going to be on the moon by 2030. And they announced their plans and they're putting a date in the ground now that they're going to get there. So all this gamesmanship is interesting.
On that note, you segued great to the next question, the gamesmanship of it all. Without the Elon/SpaceX factor, how far along would the space industry in China be? Certainly they've been inspired and or stolen technologies.
It would still be going quickly because they know it's an area that they need to develop. They just reorganized their military, apparently, which should be interesting. They were going to go. And I used to say at board meetings at the Planetary Society before commercial was a thing, but yet at the same time, with Elon doing his thing, that, people would say, oh, we're not going to Mars. We're not going. I would say we're going to Mars the day that China says it's going to Mars. Then the U.S. will get its act together because we don't know how to do stuff like that without a competitive reason to do it. That was the moon. That was that whole Apollo program. It was the Cold War strategy of who's a bigger, better, badder, technologically more advanced country. And we won that argument by landing on the moon, and Russia gave up overnight. Now we have the same thing with China. And they're going to the moon, they're going to Mars. And if they get there first, what it's going to mean. They'll go pick up our samples on Mars. They'll go lay claim to some big chunk of real estate on the south pole of the moon. These are all the things that are keeping the bureaucrats up at night, worrying about their legacy. And that'll be the only reason. It's gamesmanship. That's why things will get done. Some president's going to say, not on my watch. And a lot's happened on a few presidents' watches lately with regard to space. So we need to kind of grab that high ground again and just say, that's it. Now, the good news is because of Elon, he's going to drag this country kicking and screaming to that point. Whether the politicians want to or not, Now they've got egg on their face. Why aren't we going to put jobs in my district? How do I get Elon to put jobs in my district? Because I can't get NASA to do it anymore. They're just taking them away. So this is going to be the transition. Suddenly you want those commercial space jobs, those commercial facilities in your district now.
So Dan, to phrase it simply, 20 years ago, it seemed like almost impossible that that the U.S. would be heading back to the moon in 20 years.
Because it was always the government that paid for everything. And so without the government back then, we didn't think we had a chance in hell, because we didn't think Elon would be able to attract the capital.
I mean, truly, Elon doing this in 2002, I mean, he famously almost ran out of money, both with Tesla and SpaceX in the
multiple
same
times,
week, like 4 or 5 years later. And I mean, I'm sure other times, but famously about 4 or 5 years later, the SpaceX was down to its last rocket. And if it had blown up, it wasn't going to work.
They were done. And so, wouldn't you have brass ones if you were Elon at this point in time? Sure you would. Yeah. You not only dodged death once, you dodged it twice with 2 different businesses at almost the same time.
And now both of those businesses are on their way to be $1 trillion businesses. One already has been at one point.
So if you're Elon, everybody, excuse me for flipping off the world, because obviously none of you were right. Yeah. So none of you has any place to talk. And that's really, if you want to get inside his head, absolutely he should feel that way.
He's been proven right several times on that against the world.
Love him or hate him. Don't argue with the results.
We had a call with Peter Beck, the CEO of Rocket Lab. Bryce and I met with him over Zoom maybe a month ago, 6 weeks, I don't know. But he said something that was really interesting, because, as we're sitting here talking about in 2002, and Elon started this, 4 or 5 years later, they were on their last rocket and had no money left at SpaceX. But these days, Peter said to Bryce and I that Elon Musk's superpower at this point is unlimited access to capital. Now, Elon's probably got several superpowers. I know I've got 2 or 3 myself.
Yeah, he does. Peter witnessed one of them up close and personal when they were having their little bickering session early on about what to do. And Elon said, fine, he doesn't want to play. Okay, welcome to rideshare. And that's what caused rideshare to become a thing, was
on rockets.
Yeah.
What was their little tiff? Give us the.
Well, no, it's just that Elon was raising the idea that maybe Rocket Lab could be the rideshare to take the excess off of SpaceX for all these large single payload missions, because that's what it was in the beginning. And he absolutely thought it was stupid, blah, blah, blah.
Peter Beck thought it was stupid?
Yeah, so Elon introduced rideshare and pretty much, put a hole in the side of Rocket Lab's boat, because they were going to do rideshare long before Rocket Lab was going to be capable of launching with any kind of frequency. So there's a little bit of the inside baseball where there was, that's what created rideshare for Falcon, was no deal between them involving Rocket Lab. Anyway, it's one thing. Several people try to deny it, but I know from people who've been in that conversation that, that's the irony of how things get done.
Interesting.
Co-opetition or competition, pick your flavor. So,
any questions or comments from anyone else? We'll wrap this up in the next 3 to 5 minutes. Hi, Cabana.
Hello, how are you?
I'm good.
Did Bryce change his? I can't really tell. Did he change to black and white because of Meta's earnings, or is that just?
Yeah, he's very monochromatic today, I think.
Oh, okay.
Sad.
Yeah.
You're right. The numbers are good.
Yeah, it was just like
expectations were high, so
guide down a little bit. But.
I mean, the expectations were through the roof. Obviously, they're being recalibrated now. Microsoft is tomorrow. The expectations there are also through the roof, but I have to see if Microsoft put any rubber to the road, unlike Meta, which, look, I mean, Meta's, blowing numbers, let's go back, not 20 years, but 10 years ago when Meta came public, like very few people besides Bryce and I thought that Meta would ever be worth $100 billion. And it's now $1 trillion biz. So.
I remember it opened at like $21 or something, right? It was
like $20 ish.
It came public around like 25, and soon it became public low 30s, but soon thereafter was like at 18.
Yeah.
And that's where we started. We actually, that was one of the best non-trades I ever made in my life. Everybody I knew was asking me, should I get some of this IPO from Facebook? And I was like, one too many people who have never asked me about an IPO in their life have asked me about the IPO from Facebook. And I think Facebook is like, and this is where I love Zuckerberg. He was like, no pop on the first day. We're going to put every dime we can get from the IPO in our pocket so that we can go to battle against Microsoft and these giant companies that have unlimited access to capital. And what did he raise? Probably $12 billion or something at the time instead of $8 billion.
IPO ever.
Yeah, it could have raised a third, 30% less than what he did, and then his stock might have popped. But like the game is put the money in the checking account and then go grow your business and create a VR AI machine in 20 years. And that's what he's done. Yeah, it's the stock could be down 15-20% tomorrow, and the stock's still up from 18 to 400. So
any thoughts on Bitcoin post-halvening now that we've finally passed it? And I think you nibbled just a tad bit today.
Yeah, in the hedge fund, we bought a little bit of IBIT, but that was not because we're necessarily bullish on Bitcoin near term. But I think crypto is popped again. I think the bubble that they had a month or two ago is over. The greed is still off the charts in crypto. There's no fear from anybody. And if Bitcoin itself, I still think is probably headed to 50 or 55,000 near term, just because it's going to get hurt with all the washout that I think crypto is starting to go through. And the Bitcoin miners are, I own a bunch of, in the hedge fund, we own a bunch of puts on Bitcoin miners. And, I'm just hedging the hedge, basically. I've nibbled a little bit of Bitcoin here. I still think Bitcoin's probably got another 10 to 15% to go. And, the bonk and dog with hat and inward coins and J-word coins and all the horrible swastika coins and all that freaking meme shit is going to zero. It's all going down. Like the bubbles popped, they're not coming back. And it's from here. It's just a matter of timing, how long it takes for them to go down 99%. So
I wasn't sure on Bitcoin if we had seen the dip we were going to see with Hong Kong ETFs coming on board here soon, and there's some global ETFs with supposed lots of interest from lots of money, but
yeah, look, around the world, everybody, like the United States is the worst market for Bitcoin because we have the best currency, fiat currency, and it's still horrible. Like, the Republican Democrat regime and the Federal Reserve can't stop printing money and screwing taxpayers. And that's great for Bitcoin long term. But yeah, if you're in Hong Kong, you're like sitting there going like, wait, do I want Bitcoin or yuan? Like, do I want the Chinese to come destroy my currency? Or am I going to go like, it's just a matter of time for the Chinese completely come in and destroy all semblance of capitalism in Hong Kong. And if you're in a third world, we don't call them third world countries anymore, developing countries. If you're in a country that's broke and has a totally corrupt government and always has, you're definitely trying to get some Bitcoin. So and it's still hard to buy Bitcoin on a cold wallet and stuff. The average consumer in Hong Kong is not going to go buy Bitcoin and put it on a cold storage wallet. But the average investor in Hong Kong would love to get some Bitcoin, and they're going to do it through an ETF eventually. Yes, that's all there to drive some of that demand. A lot of that is probably already priced in, though. There's still, Bitcoin itself has got some frothiness going on still. Yeah, but I'm as bearish on cryptocurrency overall. Not non-Bitcoin cryptocurrency is like the rubber's meeting the road on those right now, and it's not pretty. I think it's going to be really ugly over the next 3 weeks, 3 months, 3 years for all of that shit. Meme coins are doomed, and now soon I'm calling that top is already over. That was 2 weeks ago.
Including Hex, even Hex.
Is there a meme coin ETF that you can short?
God, I wish there was just a crypto ETF, like non-Bitcoin crypto ETF. But the problem with that is that's just, like all the people who are actually buying that are going to lose all their money. So no, let's not make it easy for people to lose more money on stupid crypto memes.
Yes,
yes, Hex is going down another 99% from here.
The crypto long short fund. Yeah.
All right. Well, that was fun. I don't mean to be all bitchy, but shit.
Oh, thank you. We can all go out and kill ourselves now. That's good.
It's terrible.
So you're saying wait to nibble on Bitcoin for a little bit?
Yes.
Yeah. If you don't have Bitcoin miners short on your in your portfolio right now, then yes, wait to buy the Bitcoin. If you're short a bunch of Bitcoin miners, when Bitcoin's down 4%, and then one day you might want to nibble a little Bitcoin, but
just buy the chocolate Bitcoins for now. Yeah, the
Bitcoin.
foil wrapped ones. Yeah,
That's
right. Do you have any?
I've got a big, unless someone stole it, I got a big piece. Bryce, where's my big silver? Oh, there it is. Yeah.
Oh, it's right behind Bryce. Oh, there it is.
Yeah.
I had last story I'll tell you guys, and then we'll go listen to the Meta conference call. Bryce and I will anyway. I had a bunch of gold and a little bit of silver stolen out of my safe when we moved about 7 or 8 years ago by my trisomy 13 genetically challenged daughter's nurse's son.
Wow.
Oh my gosh.
We let her nurse's son help us move, and he freaking found he broke I don't know if he found the thing. The safe somehow opened.
Oh my God.
And we lost a bunch of gold. Tens of thousands. I don't even know. $100,000 or some shit worth of gold out of that safe. This one was the one that his mother found in his car and brought to us and was like, oh my God, have you guys checked your safe?
Wow.
I don't think this was his.
Is that a Bitcoin in the back? Is it a British?
No, it's Elizabeth II of Australia.
Oh.
I mean, it's not Elizabeth II of Australia. It's Elizabeth II, but it's an Australian silver coin.
Yes.
1 kilogram.
10 ounce, like Philharmonic or something?
One of the colonies. Yeah.
Oh, Year of the Snake.
Yeah.
Oh.
Yeah. I'm not a snake. I'm a rat. I was born in the year of the rat. Do you guys even know what year you were born in the Chinese calendar?
All I know is this is the year of the dragon. That's all I got.
That's it.
Next year is the year of the unicorn. All right. Thank you, everybody. Good night. Peace. Bryce, let's get to work on finding some of those companies, if you don't mind. Pretty please.
Yes. Good night. Good night.
Good night. Thanks. Peace.